welcome to everybody, Mr. President. Happy to have you here in Brussels. We had already the opportunity to see each other and to learn each other in Georgia, and it was a great moment for me to visit your office, and I'm now happy that you are here. We had, like always, I have to say, a very good and constructive and productive meeting discussing the different issues. Of course, you can imagine that especially the run-up of the forthcoming Riga summit was important for us to discuss, but it's also important, and this is something I would like to stress also vis-à-vis the media. It's about now the implementation of the association agreement and the DCFTA. There should be now the focus in the country itself, and of course it's also good that on the front of visa liberalization there was a very positive recent report from our sides, which indicates if some few outstanding, very precise, described and issues are resolved, I would not exclude that very soon a very positive final report could be there. But coming back to DCFTA, of course there are certain and first indications showing the impact of the DCFTA on the growth perspective and the dynamics behind that. So, for instance, there is a recent increase of Georgian exports to the Union in the period 1st September 2014 to end of January 2015, and this indicates or shows already an increase up by 18% compared to the respective period in the previous year. What is now important is that we have to prepare the country and the business community, in particular SMEs, better for all the requirements related to the DCFTA. Therefore, we will offer and provide a new DCFTA facility, which means, and I have to say it covers all the 3 countries having a DCFTA, but we will provide 150 million as a grant, and this should trigger a leverage of 10 for loans, so that finally 1.5 million in loans are provided for the 3 countries, Georgia, Moldova and Ukraine, and therefore I think we can really tackle this issue to stimulate, to support the economy in order to have exactly these results, these outcomes everybody would like to see. And we also discussed Georgia could really be the showcase about the very positive effects of the DCFTA, meaning is a success story showing that prosperity is possible without any problems with neighbors, and demonstrating also neighbors that there is space and place for everybody in the mutual interest of all the citizens living in the different countries. And this is exactly what Georgia aims to achieve, and whatever we can contribute, we will do.
Mr. President, you have the floor.
Thank you. As always, our meeting with Commissioner Hahn was pleasant. It was oriented and constructed on the main priorities that we are, as a country, developing with our partners in Europe. We discussed some of the most important developments that are going to happen in the months ahead, before and after Riga. I have mentioned the positive effect that my country had through this partnership. The positive impact that we had before signature of association agreement, and the reforms and development of society and political institutions that have happened in Georgia in the preparation of the association agreement, a very loaded reform-oriented agenda that Georgia had after the association agreement through this period in preparation for Riga. We discussed in details the very content-loaded and positive report that has been developed recently, and the implementation of the points of this report in the nearest future, in the nearest months to come. We have discussed in details how the DCFTA and the free trade agreement is going to impact development of Georgian economy, how it's going to reform some of the most important areas in our economic development, and we have discussed the points of furthering our partnership also in respect of visa liberalization. Overall, we evaluate that our partnership is developing in a positive format, a format that is observed by all the neighbor countries, and that Georgia's example is giving a very positive message how the integration process with Europe can be mutually beneficiary for the countries engaged and for its friends and allies.
Thank you very much. We'll take a couple of questions. I see one here. Yes, please take the mic.
Georgian Broadcasting Company, Rustavi, to Mr. Han. What can Georgian people expect it from Riga summit? And also a few days ago, official spokesman of Russian Minister of Foreign Affairs made a statement. Russia looks very negative to Riga summit, and the reaction will be hard and specific. So what do you think about such a statement before the Riga summit? Thanks.
Well, may I say a little bit disappointed about such a statement, because Riga summit will show and demonstrate what is possible if you have a friendly, peaceful cooperation amongst neighbors, and we clearly invite Russia to participate in this kind of relationship, of course respecting international law. But once again, we just celebrated Schumann's Day on Saturday, and the founding idea, if I may recall, of Jean Monnet and Robert Schuman and others was having close economic ties, and this is the best guarantee to avoid armed conflict, to create prosperities amongst people. And this concept has turned out to be a successful one, and therefore Europe is so attractive for our neighbors, fully understandable, and I think we can demonstrate this, and we would like to support our neighbors, our friends, to have the same experiences. And this is exactly what we will deliver on the Riga summit. We have four, so to say, big areas. One is mobility, the other one is interconnectivity, the third is prosperity, and the fourth is state building. And here we can demonstrate a lot of deliverables since Vilnius. We can show what is already in the pipeline, and there is a lot of potential for the future. And this should be acknowledged also by Russia, not only acknowledged, but should be understood that this is also something where they, and in particular their citizens, could benefit.
Richard.
Richard Jossi, Grady for Europe. A question for the President. Georgia's dream was really to reach visa liberalization at the Riga summit. This is not going to happen. Are you disappointed by this? And do you think that you can convince countries such as the Netherlands and France, who are a bit skeptical, that you will get it soon enough? And for Commissioner Hahn, I know it's a bit off topic, but can you please comment on the situation in Macedonia that has reached a boiling point right now? Are you planning to go to Skopje, perhaps?
Georgia has been working on furthering our partnership in EU in many dimensions. We've been very active on DCFTA and on implementing the DCFTA and we have a very effective dialogue after the signature of association agreement, and Commissioner spoke about the details and how it is developing and furthering, and I believe this will be a very positive development for my country. As for the visa liberalization process, I believe we are very active on this agenda. Our government and the parliament and society as a whole has done a lot to achieve this goal, and as I have noted before, we have a very interesting and a positive report that we evaluate as very positive, precisely oriented on the details of the reforms that have to be carried by our society in this respect, and we view this report as a very interesting working agenda for our political development, and I believe that as a result of intensive engagement on the details of this report, we will achieve positive results in this respect. So we are happy with the level of collaboration and changing of ideas with our European partners. We do believe that with a very loaded European-oriented agenda that our society and the government and the parliament has, we will reach the goal in the nearest future. Thank you.
Concerning Farum, there are clear three messages for the moment. First, we are all concerned about what has happened at the weekend. Second, we urge all involved parties and actors to collaborate in clarifying what has happened, who is in charge, who is responsible for that, and to act here really united on this issue. Secondly, this attack, this event cannot and should not distract from the very serious internal political situation in Fyrom, which we have urged the government, but also the opposition party to start resolving it, to start cooperating. So this should not be seen as an opportunity to leave a resolution of the fundamental problem the country is just facing. And thirdly, this attack, this event should not be used to create a further complexity by introducing ethnic tensions into the situation. Also, this should be avoided. So I really ask everybody, the responsible people in the country, but also in the neighborhood, to act reflected, united, targeted, and in a transparent and traceable way.
Thank you very much.
For the time being, it's not foreseen, but in my job I have to be flexible, so it's not excluded.